Hello, welcome to another edition of Productivity Vibes with Remi on Afro Vibes TV. Today I have a special guest who is one of the candidates of the Texas 18 Congressional seat. He's a man loaded, a man has so much experience, background, every walks of life. He has been everywhere, and I think we need to know him more. Apart from the political angle, we are always, heard about him. Stephen, you're welcome to the show today.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
All right, Stephen, our show is called Productivity Vibes. So let's start from there. Before we start from that angle, can you introduce yourself? Tell us about yourself to the viewers and let them know you more. For those who have not known you, let them hear something about you. So talk to the camera.
Yeah, so my name is Stephen Huey. I'm a native Texan. I played a couple years of Little League Baseball here in Texas before I went to Nigeria. My parents were missionaries there. I lived in 3 different parts of the country, and it was a great experience for me. And I came back here for Rice University in Houston, and I was interested in a lot of different things, but after college, I ended up following a bunch of adventures in tech, building software products and a couple of large corporations like a giant bank, a big energy company, but then also several startups in finance, energy, and healthcare. So I've had a lot of interesting experiences. Some of the startups were hard at times. I don't regret it though, because it was fun, and some of them did well. And so I feel like I have a lot to offer in terms of policy on Capitol Hill. But my wife and I, her name is Stephanie, kind of like Stephen, right? And we both went to Rice, and we're raising our 4 children here in the district in Houston.
Wow, awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so talking about productivity, part of the thing that we do here is to learn your productivity, hacks. How are you been able to productive? Doing a lot of school, startup, politics, finance, so many, areas that you doing stuff. What is your productivity secret, or what are the productivity secrets?
That's a great question, because sometimes I joke with people that software developers, they're kind of lazy. They want to take the best strategic route, not do so much work. That's why we make software to, make us more efficient, right? More productive.
Yeah.
And so, for me, over the years, I've had to do a lot of different, wear a lot of different hats, right? In these kind of businesses and startups. And so you have to pick and choose, right? That's the big secret. Like if you see someone that it says they do it all, I don't usually believe them. They're picking not to do something, right? And like if there's some billionaire executive we might see in the news, and they say they can do it all, but I'm like, you know what? I think I spend more time with my kids than that guy, so he doesn't do it all, right? And I definitely pick spending time with my kids over a lot of other things, right? Maybe I could have made more money over the years if I didn't have that priority, right? And that's fine with me. Right now with the campaign, I feel like I can only be doing this very easily because a lot of people I've talked to, they work for a company where they're not allowed to run for office while being employed. And so as, kind of having my own consulting firm the last couple of years, it kind of puts me in a unique position to be able to pick and choose, right? So yes, I've had to make less money in the last few months because I just can't focus on the business as much. But I knew that going in, and I also wanted to still see my family. So it's like, so I'm like doing less business, more campaign, and also still seeing my kids and my wife and all. So that's kind of a big thing. And it's like the Bible says to pray without ceasing. That's a lot of the fuel in all this daily juggling and trying to figure out how to spend your time.
What I'm hearing here is family is key to you. For you achieving so much, your result, productivity, getting things done, family is the base. Is that what you're saying?
Right, because if I go achieve a lot and I leave them in the dust, I mean, that's not really achieving what I want to achieve, right? So I try to do both.
So let's go a bit to politics now. What propelled you, what inspired you to run or to want to make impact in Texas, 18 districts?
Yeah, so I first moved into this district 20 years ago, and as time went on, and I was a much younger man then, but I learned a lot over time about kind of more of the local politics and how we're affected by national politics. And definitely in recent years, I've been more concerned about the kind of country, that my children will be growing up in,
Mm.
right? So, when nobody thought in January that this seat would open up in March, right? It was a very sad situation,
Yeah.
took us by surprise.
So,
But as we're watching to see when the governor is going to put the election, and he kind of put it off to the end of the year, I was watching the scene and researching and trying to see who's going to be entering this race. And honestly, I felt like for me, it was a priority that there's someone in the race. I'm not saying that nobody else feels this way, but I don't know really where they stand on this. And I care very much about, there's a lot of corruption on Capitol Hill.
Yeah.
There's even corruption here in Houston. And, I would like to kind of do what I can to minimize that and put a stop to it when I can. And, I know that when you enter politics, that's when people decide to stop trusting you because you're a politician now, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, if I can convince voters that I am trustworthy, then, I will do my best to serve them and to try to figure out how to change some of the status quo.
Awesome,
Right.
awesome. And I know talking about politics, talking about business, startup, technology, and all that, it is a power of books. Or, probably is there any book you read, or are there books that have really, informed your mind in taking great decisions that you are taking on the path of your life?
That's a great question. I've always loved reading a lot since I was a kid. I especially loved novels, fiction. Like, Mark Twain was one of the great American writers. I mean, he had such an insight into the way humans work and think.
Wow.
And especially in his time period, he kind of exposed that very well in his writing style. But, I've read, plenty of nonfiction over the years too. Like C.S. Lewis has some really strong writings. But interesting, I read something kind of different from what I usually choose. I picked a biography when this whole COVID thing happened a few years ago, and I read about Dr. Benjamin Rush,
Okay.
who's considered the father of American medicine.
Wow.
So during the Revolutionary War, he was one of the people advising General George Washington, and he was actually fighting with the Surgeon General of the United States at that time.
Mm.
And it took him over a year to convince Washington of this new theory that he was a believer in. He believed that hand washing would reduce deaths in the army.
That's it.
Yeah.
Wow.
He was, and he actually had to fight the Surgeon General on this for over a year to convince Washington. And smallpox inoculation, smallpox was a big problem back then, and he believed that would also save more troops during this war. And it's strange to us, to think that these basic things would have been questioned back then.
Yeah.
But honestly, he did a lot to kind of change the thinking of the time. And to me, it's encouraging because it's like at any time, we don't know all the things we don't know. We know some things now, but we should endeavor to know more. And if there's people who are against us in trying to make change, we should be like Dr. Benjamin Rush and keep pushing on. He was relentless, and he believed in what he was doing.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I think the world is changing, and what happened that time was still relevant at COVID. And even to today, if you wash your hands, you get a lot of stuff out of your life, and then you get more healthy and get better.
Right.
So going back to history now, I also remember you told me about your story in Africa. I mean, I was so amazed when you told me about that. You've lived in Nigeria before. That's just, I mean, exciting.
Yeah.
Tell us about your experience and what took you to Africa at that time.
Yeah.
What age?
Yeah, so right when I turned 9, my parents became missionaries and we moved to Ogbomoso in
Wow.
Nigeria. And, that's the heart of Yoruba land. And then after that, we lived in the big city. And we had already started learning some small Yoruba. And in the big city, right, in Lagos, it's kind of like New York in the sense that people are from everywhere. And, you try to use speak some Yoruba greetings, and people are like, I don't speak Yoruba, And so... and then later we lived in Hausaland in the north in Plateau State and the town of Jos for a few years before I came back to college. So honestly, I would say that those experiences were very eye-opening for me. I had a great time. It's the grown-ups that have stress in Nigeria. The kids, we just have fun, hang out, meet people, and learn about a different part of the world. So I enjoyed that.
Would you say your parents' missionary journey or missionary way of life affected you in making impact in your community? Is it why you're going to politics? Does it have anything to do?
I've often said that, so my parents both studied to be teachers, and my mom did that for a long time. My dad didn't do it his whole career, but they definitely have a servant's heart, right? So I heard a lot of other adults say that about my parents when I was a kid, that they really appreciate, them helping. And I would never try to compete with them. I don't know if I'll ever be as much of a servant heart as them, right? But I definitely feel like it made an impression on me, just that there's how valuable it is, to whom much is given, much is required, right? So, yeah.
Yeah, awesome. And I know there's a time you got back from Africa, you have to come and school in Houston, and probably you've been in this district and district is big,
Yeah.
this community is big. So let's us know how much you know about the district.
Right.
Is there any spot where you relax in the district? Tell us about it and let us know if you are truly,
Yeah.
part of this.
Yeah. Did you say a place that you
Yeah, that
relax?
you relax, yes, in
Yeah.
the district. You want to share with us?
Yeah, so one of my jokes is that in recent years I don't get out as much as I used to because I have 4 children and it takes some responsibilities. But definitely as a single guy, I was all over Houston every chance I get, hanging out with friends, and I really know the city quite well. And
Yeah.
one of the things I appreciate about this city is there's so much variety, right?
Yeah.
There's people from everywhere, and even before, say, Nigerians started coming here a long time ago, it was already quite a diverse city when I was a child, So I definitely appreciate that. I feel like it's a valuable trait of Houston. I don't know if I should digress on this, but one interesting thing is like we have this problem with flooding, right?
Yeah.
And it kind of comes up every now and then, right? Where there's a lot of damage and a lot of people lose their homes or something like that. And people have some good ideas for this. Like there's something really expensive, and over by Galveston, they want to build the Ike Dike, like a giant wall, kind of like the Netherlands. And I think it could be promising. I know that's a long-term project. It'd take decades, right? But right here in the city, did you know that our county has been studying for a while with the Army Corps of Engineers how to put some massive tunnels underground? Sounds like science fiction,
Yeah.
but guess what? Like I think one Republican politician was saying, oh, only Elon Musk's tunnel company can do this. That's not true. In Malaysia, they had this like almost 20 years ago. They built the smart tunnel there, and it saved the city from so many so much flooding ever since, right? And so the Army has been proposing something like these big 40-foot tunnels, 140 feet underground, several of them, that will carry all this water away to the ship channel quickly, and so we don't flood so much. And then another representative here, Wesley Hunt, has been saying Elon needs to bring his company in and put these smaller tunnels, just 30 feet underground, 10 feet wide, and that's going to save the day. And a lot of people have been saying that's not going to work. So why is that guy trying to bring in that billionaire? To me, it's about money. And I just want to make sure that our district gets served with the right solution. We don't want to go spend huge amounts of money and then not have a tunnel system that works. That would be terrible.
Yeah. Because I know you have so much inside of you, and I just like I'll just ask you, what exactly is your vision for Texas 18 districts?
Yeah, so I know people that maybe they tried to defend some of the healthcare cuts in the big terrible bill and cuts to food assistance. And I know that the reason for that is being concerned about fraud or something like that, right? And that does happen, but we have more technology than ever to detect that. So I feel like the same way our legal system is kind of like you're innocent until proven guilty, we need to kind of have a little bit more leeway there and give people the benefit of the doubt. And the people that are truly in need, we can't just it's chaos to just go cut off the assistance they need. Healthcare or help with getting, not being hungry is a huge problem, right? And it's like for people that maybe are selfish and they don't care about people, even them, I will tell them, if you want the country as a whole to be more prosperous, you want to kind of raise the baseline for everyone to be kind of at a minimum level, and then they're going to all be equipped to be more productive, right? I mean, it's to me, it's common sense. A lot of my Texan relatives talk about what's common sense, right?
Okay, well, we'll come back. You're going to tell us more about the district and about your plans and strategy that you have. And I'm sure our viewers are ready to learn and to hear from you. So we'll go on a short break to pay our bills. And when we are back to Stephen. See you next. Welcome back. Now, Stephen, I'm here with you again, and I want to ask you because people are asking, why would Stephen be the best candidate? Why would he be the best man? What makes you different from other people? Talk to the camera.
Right. Yeah. So, there's no one else running that has the, I guess, the depth of experience in major industries like healthcare, finance, and energy that I do. I mean, I have literally built solutions from the ground up for all of those industries over 20 years. And I have to be a quick study on those to even know what I'm doing, right? And that make a difference. So I have that advantage for me. But another thing that we have is the establishment playbook, we saw last year has not been working so well, right? And I feel like I don't know that any of the other candidates will be trying to work across the aisle as much as me. I mean, I have friends, relatives, colleagues that are from both sides of the aisle. I feel like a lot of times if you're in one or the other, you don't understand how the other side's thinking. And I do. And sure, I've had arguments with friends who found out I voted for Obama over 15 years ago. But we have these arguments and we try to understand each other, right? Try to see where each other is coming from. And that's what I would do if I were elected, because I feel like that's the best way to figure out how to work with the other side to do things for our district. Right now, our district being heavily Democrat, it's kind of an uphill battle to get some of these solutions we need here in our district right now, unless you're willing to understand the other side and work with them and try to convince them to help you, right? Even Trump, as much as he can make some people mad, I have even some Republican friends. They don't like some of his policies. Maybe you can say he's Trumpican. He's not even Republican. I don't know. But the fact of the matter is he has sometimes been willing to change his mind. And going forward, I feel like he's going to have to, because some of his own supporters will be negatively impacted by some of his policies. So I think we need to be ready to work with them on, okay, well, what then is the best solution in some of these key areas? And honestly, I feel like I will be the most likely to kind of bridge that divide,
Awesome. So there's something peculiar about you, and then I had my discussion with you, back the camera or in front of the camera, is to know that you have family man. You have 4 kids. I mean, that is work. That is real hard work to raise 4 children. So let's look at parenting. How are you able to raise children with career? How are you able to balance this life? Especially you are into financing, startup, politics, ministry. How with children at the same time? And I'm sure your wife is also asking for attention.
Yes,
How do you balance something
no,
else?
I mean, Stephanie is awesome.
Yeah.
And the reality is, for both of us, there is sacrifice involved, right? So I mean, obviously we can't do some of the things right now. We don't have as much free time as we did before children, but it's only a few short years that we have them at home. It's a big responsibility that God has given us, and we take it very seriously. I mean, she's always telling me about books or she's reading or podcasts she's listening to with really great parenting advice. And it's wonderful. There's so much out there right now, although you got to pick and choose because it's not all the best, but some of it is really good. And it's very helpful for us to try to figure out how to nurture these kids in the right way.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So if I want to go a bit, personal now, I'm going to say, when you wake up in the morning, how do you have a productive day? How do you set up for a day, from family and you're going out? What is your day like, your day ritual?
Yeah, so it depends on the day that which kid's gonna wake up first. But generally they're hungry in the morning.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, I am the big breakfast cooker in my family. Even before we had kids, my wife knows me. I was the breakfast cooker, right? So a lot of times they're having hot breakfast, and my guy friends are like, yeah, we just give them cereal. And now my kids, some of them are getting older. They like cereal, but honestly, a lot of times they like it when I actually make something. So, I'm a morning person, and I love juggling all these kids first thing in the morning, and I always make a point of, when possible, unless I have to leave the house for something, that I'm spending that time at the very beginning of the day with them. So that kind of gives me a boost because I'm not thinking about work right away. I'm just kind of like, yeah, it's kind of work to take care of your kids, but it's a different kind of thing, and it's a great to just kind of motivate me for the rest of the day.
So let me take it higher. So there are things that have to be in place for you to be more productive in my research: family, friends, fulfillment, fun, and faith.
Yes.
Family, friends, fulfillment, fun, and faith. How do you balance this five? But I see all that in all your discussion, your personal life. How do you balance all this, and yet you are productive, you are getting results in what you do?
Hmm. Yeah, so I think I mentioned before how you have to
Yeah.
pick and choose, and
pick and
sure, we can't do as many of the things we did when we didn't have kids, but we do things with our kids, right? So it might meet there's a few restaurants, we need more of them in Houston,
Yeah,
right?
yes.
Where they have places for the kids to play while the adults are talking and
Yeah.
trying to have an adult moment, right? So that's great. You can still see some friends that way, just not as much as we would like, but it's okay. I'm the one who takes the kids out to playgrounds, right?
Okay.
Always checking out all the different playgrounds. So sometimes, I might be able to meet a friend there with their kids,
Yeah.
and then we can talk, and so I get to relax a little bit. It looks different now as a parent than before, but for me, my friends know me as someone who will talk your ear off until late in the night if I can. And
Faith.
yeah,
Faith.
so well. So we're involved in a local church. It's a bilingual church here in Houston, and I've actually been there for over 20 years, and definitely, as time has gone on, some friends have now left Texas that were there, but there's new friends that have come in, and
Yeah.
so I've seen it kind of change over time, but still the community does value supporting people, and even outside of the church, we have friends from other churches that we need their prayer support for, like, this campaign, for example.
Yeah.
We've been telling them updates,
Yeah.
and they've been praying for us. So it's vital.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that. Now, I saw that day when we had that debate. I saw the way you interacted with other candidates. I saw the way you share your thoughts. What is the power of people? How resourceful are you, or where do you place people in achieving your objectives, either in politics, in business, or whatever? How powerful is people?
Yeah, I mean, even in my business, some of these projects I couldn't get them done without other people helping me work on them, right? So, and I value people both for just the fun of people. I love to get to know everyone's life story. Not everybody has time to tell me that much, but that energizes me, kind of knowing about people. But obviously, it's like, in order to get anything done, whether it's in business or some other kind of work, like if in government, I mean, all of this doesn't happen if you're not willing to work with people. And if you're working with people for some time, why not get to know them better and to kind of, know what makes them tick too, we all want to kind of be understood. It kind of makes us feel, fulfilled, and it's edifying of each other. So I feel like it's vital for, life.
I love it because I know that I can't really get things done without people. You can't do all by yourself. Uh, Looking at your background, checking your profile, I see you have also you've been a leader in different, organization, community. Now you're going for leadership position. So the question here is, what leadership trait do you think you have to serve the people?
Yeah, leadership trait, you said?
Trait, yeah.
Well, I think a huge part of it. So, some people want to lead with like an iron fist or something like that, but people are smart, and they can do a lot, right? And so businesses where they just kind of turn everyone into little task rabbits, that business is probably not going to be as successful as a business that empowers everyone to be able to really contribute their full potential, right?
True.
And if you don't know the person, how are you going to know what they're capable of, or
Mhm.
maybe what adventure you should give them to solve some problems to solve, right? So I think the first thing is starting with understanding the people that you're trying to lead, because without that, you won't go as far or as fast.
So on the wrap now, I want you to talk to the people in the districts who are watching right now, and talk to them and uh, share your vision. What is your utmost vision of a desired Texas 18 Congressional District that you have in mind? What picture do you have? Share your vision with them. Let's hear you.
Yeah. So right now we don't have a voice for almost 800,000 people in the district, right?
Wow.
And there are some things that are being done that are wrong, are a disservice to us. And definitely I would want to use that platform to amplify that, to call people out, like Barbara Jordan did of a president decades ago. But a lot of the work to actually be successful, it's going to take, like I said, understanding where the other side is coming from so that we can get things done for our side, right? Or for things that are particular problems in our district. Not everyone in the country is struggling with them, but many people are. So we can work with the representatives from those districts. My faith compels me to speak up for those in need. And first and foremost, human dignity should be looked at when making any legislation. We shouldn't be cutting out vital services for people. If we want to make them better, then we should do that with a strategic long-term plan, not just kind of willy-nilly doing this and that, right? The U.S. representative for this district can only do so much about local problems in education.
Yeah.
But I would definitely, I have many teacher friends, many parents at schools where good teachers have been sent packing lately, even good principals. I would definitely want to use that to amplify those problems. Because for me, I just came from this event where this man was speaking who was running for governor of Texas named Andrew White. And his website, I just read it last week because he just announced, and he was saying he wants Texas schools to be the best in the country. And it's like, I don't feel like our governor really has that as a goal. Some people might think he just wants them to all the public schools to fail so everyone's in a private school. And it's like, I still think if somehow you made it possible, a lot of kids would fall through the cracks, and that's not a great solution. And so I was really encouraged that Andrew is trying to be a unifier for all Texans, right? If you read his messaging, he's saying he wants to try a new approach. So I think it's an amazing goal to make Texas have the best schools in the country. But definitely here in Houston, we need a lot more support for the students and their families to try to, because, even if you talk to a selfish person, I think I said something like this already, where even if they don't care about these kids getting a good education, I could say from a selfish perspective, it would make the country better off if the baseline of education was raised for everyone. But honestly, that's not how people in my church think, and we just think it's the right thing to do to make sure all these kids and their families have the support they need, that these kids will have an excellent education and be prepared for 21st century jobs.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah.
That's how far you can take today. If you allow this man, it can go on and on and on and on.
That's true.
Thank you very much, Stephen. This will be the end of the show today. So thank you very much for viewing. Connect with us for the next edition of Productivity Vibes. Have a good one. Bye.